Hello everybody, my name is Mark Elgren. Welcome to the first ever edition of Mark E. Cooks. Thanks to my friend Alicia from high school. Appreciate you pushing me this direction. We'll see how everything goes. So tonight we're going to be cooking a braised beef chuck roast. We're going to be doing a braising of it at the beginning in a Dutch oven and then finishing it off afterwards in the oven. We're also going to be doing mushrooms browned in butter. Also going to be doing a spinach in a saute pan. You can choose to maybe not do this one, but this is bacon fat, so that's what we're going to be cooking our spinach in. I'm going to have Russ's potatoes sliced and baked. I'm going to be covering these in a vegan veggie powder that's really, really good. So we're going to bake those in the oven with some butter. You'll notice pretty much they say butter all the time because everything's better with butter. Whole staff's supposed to get on that one. Seasonings we're using, we have some shallots, we have some onion, we have some thyme, we have some rosemary, a dash of cayenne for the roast. So that's pretty much going to be it. So a couple of cups of red wine to help finish that off. And obviously to create the sauce at the end, we'll be using butter. So let's get some prep work done. So we're going to do a little time-lapse photo. So here we go. So we have a large Dutch oven to start our braising of the chuck roast tonight. So what we're going to do is season that chuck roast. So we're going to put salt, pepper, some thyme and rosemary on there. We're going to chop up those shallots, get them in there as well. So we're going to braise that off at a higher heat, making sure we're sealing in all those wonderful flavors, get the aromatics from the different herbs. From that, big saute pan, we're going to be breaking down that spinach. So now remember, if you start with this much spinach, it'll be enough for probably 2 people, so make sure you have plenty. So this is half of a large tub of spinach. So that's what we're going to be taking there. So we'll have that done. And then we also have our wonderful old school Pyrex. I think this was my grandma's at one time, but works just fine for me. So we're going to be doing our potatoes in that. So stay tuned, we'll keep going. So we're going to chop up these mushrooms. My assistant chef Josh will be stepping in here soon. So we got a chuck roast, right? Brought out, room temperature. So what we're going to do is take some kosher salt. I'm going to cover that up a little bit on the one side. I use a cracked 4 pepper. So this is red, green, black, and white pepper. And I always go with a coarse ground on that. I just like the different flavor profile. We got some salt over the left shoulder there. We're good to go. Now take up your rosemary and just kind of crush it up in your fingers, open it up a little bit, and just dust it. None of this stuff is too out of the norm for a home or for anybody. So we'll flip her over again. Take a little more kosher salt just to coat everything pretty good right here. All right, so there. We'll add our thyme. A little more rosemary. Clean it off the cutting board, everything's good. Perfect there. So we got all that stuff. Let's set that off to the side here real quick. So let's chop up these shallots a little bit. Now we got a half of a yellow onion here. We're going to chop that up. We can do pretty much a rough chop on that or a slice on here, so we're not looking for too much. It'll all render down in that pan and become part of the flavors and the profile of the actual meat. So we'll add our olive oil to a hot pan already. Get this sucker good and hot. We want to sear it. And we're going to get our dead cow here. And here we go. Now we're going to sear this on all sides. We want to make sure that that is actually nice and browned on each side. You're searing in all those flavors. You're caramelizing those wonderful fats. We're going to create a flavor profile. You're going to get those herbs and peppers and salts kind of going in there. So all that stuff's going to be pretty good. Smells so good already. working with a Dutch oven because it's so easy to clean. It's all self-contained in this one little world, and I just love it. And we'll be doing some other stuff later on with some different dishes where I'll be making 2 in 1 in the same pot, which is so much nicer. If you get 2 meals instead of 1, clean it all up, you're good to go. So we're going to brown that off a little bit more, get all those things in here. Take some shallots and onions, get them in here so we're creating a nice base here. Always want to make sure you're running hot. Or on this stove, I think they call it super boil. Let that brown off. You don't need to keep flipping it all the time. Just kind of let it go. Those flavors are going to get all mashed up in there and be all happy. That's going to keep sitting in there. I've already got my oven preheated up to 300 degrees. We're going to go low and slow in here. Potatoes are also going to go in here. So we're going to get that started here in a minute. So let's take a little break and we're going to get some other prep work done. You got a couple hours on a roast. You can cut it a little heartier, a little thicker. So Joshua and I actually came up with this recipe one night. We were just dinking around in the kitchen, having fun. And I said, why don't we try some of this? Joshua was like, okay. You notice that mushrooms aren't supposed to be cooked at low temperature. You can simmer them down to mush. It's not really what we want to have. So let's keep those going. All right, Joshua, how did we do this last time? You just want to do layers, right?
Yep.
So we need a little oil on the bottom. So I'm doing flaxseed oil inside with these potatoes. For right now, I will add butter because I pretty much add salt and butter to everything in the whole world. You don't always have to add butter. You can use whatever you want, corn oil, vegetable oil. Flavor profile you'll get from a flaxseed oil is very buttery and very rich, so it's a great way to add into it. All right, Josh, you ready? So now I'm putting on that vegan veggie powder that I have. And I keep spilling salt over. It's fantastic. I hope you guys didn't expect anything too much in the first time through. All right, there we go again. Joshua likes layers, so. All right, what else? You can get the funny nub ones, cook those as well. Who cares? It's all good. It's going to be good in your belly no matter what. Another layer of that powder. That'll all start to seep into the potatoes and kind of get them going. All right, now that we got a good char on this, it's looking fantastic in here. Browning it off, the flavors are getting in here. I'm gonna turn that stove off. I'm gonna add about 2 cups of red wine into this. And about another cup of water. You see how hot that pan is? Once we start cooking, that reduction in that Dutch oven is going to kind of break down all those flavors together. The beets and fats are going to come out of there. So right now I've got 300 degrees on my convection oven. So we're going to get all that flavors going to cook down. We're going to have that meat shrink a little bit and get all those juices and all those flavors going to party up together. And then once that's done, we're going to saute some mushrooms up. Potatoes are going to get prepped and finished up now. Once we get done with that, we'll do time lapse, a couple hours. You're going to be able to find the roast will be done, magically delicious, and we'll be ready to go. So we'll see you soon. Now the veggie powder that I use, I'll use them as a rubs, I'll use them as a base. It works really good on like chicken and just as a dry rub. It's kind of weird, but if anybody's kind of weird, it's me. So we're good to go. Every layer's got a little salt, so we're okay with that. Everybody's happy, everybody gets in the pool. And then a little bit Parmesan on top. You can go crazy if you want. I'm crazy, so it tends to go crazy, so we're good. We're gonna be steaming cooking right in the pot. We're not mushing-ifying it. We're not microwaving it. We're not taking all the vitamins. We're keeping the skin on. So just along the side here, I'm gonna pour about a half a cup of water inside this little baby. Close grandma's Pyrex up. Boom, into the oven. And there she goes. Time for the timer. I'm gonna give it about 2 hours right now. And we're gonna check everything in a little bit. So we'll see you soon. Never, ever, ever soak your mushrooms. Rinse them off, don't rinse them off. Give them a little loving pat. Pat, 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 get all the dirt off, everything's good. Don't drown them in water and then they turn to mush. And now we have just dusted off clean mushrooms. Hello, put me in your belly. All right, potatoes are done. They're looking pretty wonderful. Got a nice little crust on them. Hello. Oh my God, wonderful carby, starchy goodness. And here comes the Dutch oven. Oh my God. Oh, oh wow. Oh. It's like bench pressing 80 pounds out of there. It's nuts. Oh, look at that wonderful wonderfulness. Oh, now that's beautiful. So we got all our stuff in here from the wine and everything. We're gonna make that butter wine sauce out of there. So we're gonna reduce that down. So we're gonna get this off to the side. And then we're gonna finish making our sauce, doing our mushrooms. Pan is heating over here. And then do our spinach. So give me a few minutes, but we get ready to go. It's a really hot pan, so we're gonna do some brown butter. We're gonna hit that up, get our mushrooms in there. Keep that thing really hot. You don't wanna steam your mushrooms, but don't mess with them too much, let them sit. We got our sauce boiling again here. And of course, we're gonna do everything's better with butter. So I'll take about another couple tablespoons of butter, get it in there. This is gonna thicken up our sauce a little bit. Burn off any alcohol that might be left over. Yeah, I know, I say weird stuff when I'm cooking, but oh well, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with all of it. So we're gonna get this going here with a little bit of sauce. You don't want to keep messing with the mushrooms. Just let them do their thing. You'll notice when they're cooking. You see we're getting a little brown on them. So that butter's the brown butter in there. Simmering in our little pot here. Everything's looking heavenly. I can't wait to try the potatoes. Just a couple of pinches of kosher salt in there. Probably about a tablespoon. First cracked pepper. Otherwise I get my fine one out and then just do circles like crazy. Oh, wait. We got the tiny burner over here so it keeps everything cooking. Our sauce is starting to get ready. I'm whisking. It's happy dance. Not putting that in there. Stirring the sauce. Stirring the sauce. Holy mackerel. This is so good. Mark, he's happy. I can't wait to eat this. I wish I could provide smell-o-vision here, but I don't think smell-o-vision is coming through. So I'm going to brown these off a little bit. You know, somebody's probably going to complain to me I didn't make a roux for this, but I cook my way, you cook yours. You cook your way, too. Nobody needs to hate on you for it. Somebody always will. Because haters are going to hate. We don't have any music going in the background, which is weird for when I'm cooking. Plus the fawn, I'm going to go do it. Not for the weak fingers. Alright, we gotta get in here and get our wonderful fungus. Get ready, so it's hot. Boom! Oh yeah, Marky's in a happy place. Time to make a big pile of spinach into a little pile of spinach. Bacon fat! Oh, watching that render down in the bottom there. You ready, Mush? Yeah. Bye, Sharon. Oh. Spatula adjustment. Or I can use the tongs from the meat. Hello, goodbye. Oh, I wish you were here. A little salt to help break down the leaves a little bit more here. Oh. You don't want to turn it too much into mush, but it'll get there. See that big bucket of spinach? Not spinach anymore, it's more just like a little lump in the bottom here. Nutty flavor from that. That's it. We got our wonderful sauce over here with the mushroom. Oh my God. All right, we're gonna plate some of this up and we're gonna be getting down to grubbing down. It's just sliding through there. Well, Joshua's going to be tasting our first bite here. Good. I guess it's good. So basically, a cheap piece of meat, not more than maybe $5 for what we had. We had spinach for cheap. I mean, that's for the container we had. It was $3, and it was only half of that. We're gonna have to use more next time. Potatoes, obviously, russet potatoes, very inexpensive. Nothing out of your ordinary that you wouldn't have at your house. Wine, garlic, shallots. Some of the things might be special, but easy cooking at home. Don't make it complicated, make it fun. Well, thanks a lot for coming out. Joshua's the judge of the food tonight. He's doing all right. Nothing needs to be complicated. All of it's pretty easy. There's nothing that you wouldn't usually have in your shelves. If not, stock up on it. Cooking shouldn't be that difficult. It's pretty easy. Take your time to learn. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll look forward to seeing you in my next episode. Thanks for stopping by.